ban? Oh yeah, definitely. I'm still gonna stick to that. That is universal in MLBB sports now. Ban down those heroes in the first phase.
Uzbekistan's batting pattern a bit more unique, based from what I'm used to, but we do see Fusion first phase bans. However, that usually comes from an era wherein teams play or prioritize rather slower, up in your face roamers that don't have a lot of damage. I'm thinking they might actually even be considering a high loss as a first pick. That's one of the signals to get from a Jushin first phase ban or a Hilda.
Which is why I think this makes sense, right? Because I don't know how far Kana is familiar now with a lot more assassin plays, but from what we saw from the qualifier, she's only been playing the Julian, the Roger, and the Baxia. So these are heroes that can be quite susceptible to the Jushin. So on top of the respect for Cine, there's also that argument to be made there.
All three heroes mentioned have been bumped out of the metagame for very good reasons. In Indonesia, last ban, the Angela, again closing off these gaps. Hard commit by Team Uzbekistan on that Harith.
Yep. So that's one of the mentalities that we're used to seeing from teams who aren't, well, used to the upper echelon of competitive MLBB. They chase their carries right away. So they go for the Harris. I'm not going to knock it. I mean, we did say, hey, in this kind of setup, go for surprise. And what is more surprising than the Harris first pick? Instantly, that's responded to by Indonesia with a Lunox. So we know that's going to be a magic duo in the gold lane. However, I'm not going to take it away from Indonesia to just surprise, park that Lunox into the mid instead, and then pick up another gold laner. So with Indonesia picking up the Alpha, it's similar to having the Alpha and the Harith in terms of how fast that they are going to get their power spikes. The answer to that is very fast.
Very little ramp up for an Alpha. As soon as he hits level 2, you're good to go. Spear of Alpha is just the icing on the cake. It's what allows for the Alpha to re-engage, disengage. Uzbekistan have to consider that. I was gonna say pick up a jungler now, or else end up with a weird hero that's gonna face off against that Alpha. So they do eventually get the Hylos
And the Edith. Do we go Valentina here for Team Indonesia?
I think Valentina would be a good pickup. Once you see that Edith, you see that high loss, that's an easy Valentina pick. If they decide to go for something a little bit more range in the mid, I wouldn't knock that too. But if it's Indonesia wanting to be aggressive, control the tempo, show off the mid laner skill difference, that's where you go for the Valentina. With Uzbekistan picking up 3 magic damage heroes right away, Indonesia can just rush to the Radiant Armors early on. And speaking of Radiant Armor, that's one guy who would want to pick up a Radiant Armor, maybe second item after a Thunderbolt.
But it looks like the Gatot's going to be picked up here as the final pick from Indonesia. So they're actually going to bide their time to get into the mid laner. Earlier on, Leo was, you know, what is it called? Mouthing Eve? And I was thinking Luo Yi as well.
Luo Yi Eve, these are heroes that warrant a ban in the first phase, whether red or blue. And it's uncharacteristic of these two teams to cover their bases, invest in what they feel is their comfort that'll pay off regardless of what the opponent punishes with, and leave the Eve and the Lugi out. So I'm guessing either of them will start attacking either the mid or, yeah, in Indonesia's case, the jungle, and then commit to what's left. Indonesia is in a better seat to do that.
Oh,
Interesting.
good.
Fanny.
Yeah. I think Indonesia's thinking like, ooh, there might be a Fanny assassin. You posed the question earlier, it turned out.
I did.
Like, how ready are they with the assassins? But maybe disrespect by Indonesia. They just don't want to face it if ever there is. So now for Uzbekistan, more physical damage would be required. Their XP and roam are both magic. Weirdly enough, that means their mid laner, if they have an Indonesian fighter, or that's going to be 4 magic damage dealers, and it's only going to be 1 source of physical damage in the jungle, which might, if they don't get the early game that they want, will actually come back to haunt them.
get punished hard.
Yeah.
Singular items coming in from Indonesia were very low to the ground. There's one solid damage, physical damage that you can invest in. Well read by Coach Casius and the Team Indonesia. Uzbekistan, though, are they going to continue attacking the mid lane? Do they hang out the Eve here now? They picked their poison.
Wait a second. Sorry, guys. Are Uzbekistan drafting without a coach?
It looks like it's just the ladies.
Yeah, it's just the ladies up on stage.
Wow. All right, so we'll see how this pans out once again.